Welcome to Where There's a Wills, There's a Play. My name's Ian, your mid-complexity casual gamer, and today I'm here with my top 10 favorite action right games. This is a follow-up to two five and dimes we have on the channel. One from last summer where I ranked my top 10 roll and rights and my top 10 flipping rights, and then one from a couple weeks ago where Stacy gave her top 5 action rights and I gave five, or not her top five. She gave five that she recommends that she enjoys playing, and I gave five rolling rights and five flipping rights. Although I did realize that on both of my flipping right lists from last summer and a couple weeks ago, that Isle of Cats Explore and Draw really is more of a drafting right because you have a tableau of cards and you're drafting from that tableau. You're not necessarily flipping and writing down what you are flipping. So this list is going to be top 10 action rights. This is any sort of and right. This is pure roll and write where you roll a dice, you write down what you roll, or you flip it right where you flip a card and you write down what you flip, or you're doing some other sort of and right thing as you are doing things. So let's move on to the list. All right. My number 10 is, I guess, kind of a classic type, classic, and right. This is a flip and right where you are building the perfect neighborhood, and that is Welcome to Your Perfect Neighborhood. So in Welcome to, you have a three stacks of cards that all have house numbers on them. You're going to flip the top card in each stack. Then you are going to choose from those stacks which combination you want of number and item. Some of the items will give you a pool. You would have to write it on the number you're using. A park, you put it in the neighborhood you're using. The symbol you can see there with the stacks of coins and the value going up. You get to increase the value of your neighborhoods. You can also get fences to make different sized little areas within each block, which will be needed in order to fill those contract cards that are above the numbered cards on the picture. So those contract cards might say you need to have an area of three houses, and four houses. And then once you get that, you put a fence along the top of them and to say that you've used them, and you score whatever the highest point value left is. You can also change the number, and whoever has the most of those at the end of the game gets bonuses. You get points for your pools, you get points for your contracts you fulfill, you get points for um, each neighborhood size. So, like, if you have a bunch of twos and you have the two all the way up, I think it's like 2 times 4 or something, 2 times 3. So you get different values for what you are doing. And then the game, when one person fills their first contract, they can shuffle all the cards so that they can choose to shuffle all the cards back up into 3 new piles, so you don't know which numbers have been used and which um, items have been used. And then at the end of the game, you add up your score, and you and the person who has the most points wins. There's a couple different end game scenarios, and one of them is the you you go through the entire deck, and there's no deck. You don't reshuffle at the end. Or if someone fills up all of their neighborhoods, which you would have to shuffle mid game in order to do that, or if someone uses their third I can't remember what it's called, but there's a thing. If you can't place a number, you have to mark something off and you lose points. So if you get the third one of those, I think it is, the game is over. That is Welcome to. My number 9 is one that I just recently learned. This is a flip and right all about building a crazy castle, and this is Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig. In Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig, you are going to be taking once again, you're going to be drafting because you're going to deal out a certain number of cards. I play solo, so I deal out 3 cards. I think it's 1 card plus, it's the number of players plus 2. And then you're going to take a card from the pool. You can see this is from a recent game of mine. I'm going to take a card from the pool. I'm going to add it into my castle, and I can get there's some different King's Favors tokens, which are those circular tokens. The discard pile is over on the left. There is some bonus scoring cards that you can gain more of. The cool thing with this is when you finish a room by closing in both or all the doors in the room. You get some bonuses. So you might get a free turn for with the yellow. I think the blue and the gray, one of them allows you to erase a door, one of them allows you to add a door, or the gray allows you to add a secret passage. I think the blue allows you to add a door, and the purple allows you to erase a door to help you clear more rooms. The green allows you to fill in the flags on the left and the top of your map so you can expand where you can actually build rooms. The orange allows you to get more bonus cards, but now you have to actually um, get orange rooms in order to be able to actually score. So you don't score all your bonus cards, but it gives you more options. Then there's courtyards if you have a space completely surrounded on all sides, and there's an entrance into it. Somehow that makes it courtyard. Then you have music rooms, which are red, which I can't remember off the top of my head what they do. But it's just this really fun puzzle of okay, which room do I want? Which King's favor tokens am I going to try and get the most of? Because if I have the most in a solo game, I get 15 points. Otherwise, you get nothing. Which bonus cards am I going to try to go to? What extra things do I want? You can make a moat if you get cards that have a swan on them. So you can see that green card in the upper left has a swan on it. So you color in a swan. When you color in 4, you can make a moat. You get points for every room that's behind a moat. So you fill in the circle when you get a finished room, and then you fill in the flag when you actually use that ability so you know you've used it. This is just a really fun one, a really fun puzzle of where am I drawing stuff, when am I drawing stuff, what room types do I want, what special things do I want, how can I maybe trigger these to do multiple things at once. So like the other day I was able to get another turn, and then I was able to get a room from the discard pile. One of the things I think that's the red. The red allows you to take something off the discard pile. So I was able to get something off the discard pile, and then I was able to complete another room and get another extra turn. So just you can get some combos in here. The combos aren't as big as in some of the games that are going to be coming up, but there are some things that you can combo, and just that whole puzzle. I really like this one, and the vellum papers that you're drawing on, so you can slide the card underneath, so you can draw the room exactly, is really fun. So that is Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig. My number 8 is one that I've been playing for a few years now, and I just taught it to Stacy a few weeks ago, and that is Three Sisters. Three Sisters takes the idea, the old growing idea of growing your squash or pumpkins, your beans, and your corn together, and how they act together. So like the corn will go up or the beanstalks will go up the corn. The pumpkins are around the outside. So as you are playing this, you are trying to fill in your garden over here on the left, in the upper left. You roll a dice. You roll a dice. You roll all the dice, and you place them wherever Farmer Edith is. So you can see in the top of the picture, you can see Farmer Edith is up there, the black little meeple. You put the lowest value there, and you just every dice you put together. So if you have 2 3s, you put 2 3s, then a 4, then 5. So in this case, you'd put the 3 where Farmer Edith is, and then the 2 4s in the next one, and then the 5 in the next one. And then you have 2 phases. Your first phase, you take a dice and you plant or water in that zone. And then the second part of your turn is wherever you took the dice from, you are going to do an action from the rondel. So you might plant or water again. You might have some shed time and be able to fill some stuff in your shed. You might be able to do stuff in your apiary. You might be able to do stuff in your in your uh, fruit trees or in your perennials. So you have all these different things that you might be able to do. And this game can get some nice little combos going. You can get some free turns. So I really like this one. I've enjoyed this one for several years. Like I said, taught it to Stacy a couple weeks ago. I think she enjoyed it as well. So that is Three Sisters. All right, moving on to my number 6. My number 7. My number 7 is a game that I backed on Kickstarter a few years ago. It's one that Stacy and I really enjoyed from the start. I do prefer two players. This is all about horse racing, and this is Long Shot the Dice game. So in Long Shot the Dice game, you are betting on these horses. They all start in the same spot. You have two dice. You have the eight-sided dice and the six-sided dice. The six-sided dice is numbered 1 through 3 twice, and the eight-sided dice is 1 through 8 with a color on it as well to represent the horses. And what you are doing is you are rolling the dice, and whatever number comes up on the horse dice, that horse moves the number of spaces um, on the green dice. So this looks like it is an actual solo game. You can see the solo um, AI in the upper right. So what you're doing during the game is you are rolling the dice, and you are betting on horses. You are doing some stuff over in the concession stand. That's that 4x4 grid on the left to get you some extra horses that you can buy. You can buy the horses. If you buy the horses, then they finish first, second, or third. You get the points. You get the money for that. I think it's 35, 25, 15, something like that, or 25, 15, 10, something like that for finishing. Um, when you move a horse, though, you can see over on the 1, 3, and 4 cards, there's some other horses that are marked off. So when, say, you roll the 4 horse is going to move however many spaces the green says, but the green dice says, but every single other dice or every single other horse that is marked off gets to move as well. So that helps you as well. You can bet on the horses as well. So on your turn, you can use the horse dice to mark off a number in the concessions to buy a helmet or a jersey, which allow you to do some things. The jersey, I believe, allows you to bet past the no bet line, and the helmet, I don't remember what the helmet does off the top of my head. Or you can put a bet on that horse. You have a certain amount of money, so you have to get money back from things, which you can do in the concessions. You can earn some money back. If um, and then you get at the end of the game, you add up how much money you have, how much money you made off of horses. Every helmet and jersey combination you have, you get $5, and then you add up all, and then however much you made off of horses you actually purchased. The horses you purchase also give you some extra abilities, which is a lot of fun. This is just a really fun game. We do have the expansion as well, which adds some little things on the track that kind of can mess with the horses. But this is a really fun one. This is Long Shot the Dice game. All right, moving on to my number 6. My number 6 is one of the first solo, um, one of the first roll and writes I bought when I was getting into solo gaming, early in our board gaming, in our modern board gaming. And this one is all about making the perfect dinosaur park. And this is Dinosaur Island Roar and Write. This one I played a lot when I first got it. I really enjoy this game. I love polyominoes, first of all. I love action rights. And in Dinosaur Island Roar and Write, you're going to roll on your turn. You're going to roll 6 dice. You're going to just kind of put them in a row or a column, whatever. Then you're going to flip over an AI card, which you can see on the left side here, and you're going to take 2 of the dice and place them up in that central board up top. Whichever numbers. This one looks like it says number 1 and number 4, and they're going to go into certain areas up top. So when you do this, then you get to choose, and this is for solo play. Then you get to choose 2 dice and then an extra dice. The 2 dice um, you're gonna get whatever's on those dice, whether it's DNA, whether it's rides or shops or whatever other things, money. And then you are going to place 2 of those dice up top as well to get some extra things. You're trying to build the best park without any death happening as well. So you have 3 different dinosaur types. You have the herbivores, you have the small carnivores, you have the large carnivores. Herbivores, there's no danger, but the excitement level is only 1. You want to go across the excitement track, which is on the pad on the right, which is the green section, where you can earn more things when you run your park at the end of every 3 rounds. Every third round, you run your park over 9 rounds. There's small carnivores, which have a danger level of 1, but they give you 2 excitement. So you get to mark off 2 spaces on the excitement. The large carnivores have a danger of 2, but you get to mark off 3 excitement. And then you also are trying to get your workers on the pad or on the right side of the main board up there that are that are marked in red, and then in blue are extra buildings you can put in, which gives you some extra abilities and some extra bonuses. And then you also have three gold cards you're going for. So in the solo game, the AI is just taking the dice from you. When you're playing against people, you're drafting dice back and forth. I really enjoy this game. It doesn't hit the table a lot anymore because my average in this game in the large number of games I've played is pretty high. I've kind of figured it out, I think, in my brain to be able to keep the danger level down while still being able to maximize my park. Um, if they come up with any expansions for this or anything, I think this one could move up a bit. This one will be a keeper though. I really enjoy getting this out, and the dice in it are just absolutely gorgeous. That is Dinosaur Island, run right at number 6. All right, moving on to my number 5. My number 5 is one that I really enjoy. This is a much crunchier and right. I don't consider this one a just true flip and write, because there's just so much more going on than just flipping and writing down what you're doing in this one. Huge combos in it. I'm actually kind of surprised it moved up this high, because I do like this game, but it's also one that I tend to ignore a large part of it. But obviously, it's number 5, and this is Hadrian's Wall. So in Hadrian's Wall, you are flipping a card from the deck of cards on the left, and you're flipping 2 cards over. You're putting one above your board there that is above the 2 pads of paper, and that one is going to be a goal for the end of the game. And then the other one, you're going to get some worker meeples in different colors, some different meeples that represent different things, or some brick. And that is where you are kind of doing your and right. Is those then take you onto the board and on the board on the 2 pads of paper, and that's where you start writing stuff down. You start gaining other workers, you start gaining other bricks. When you start clearing some stuff off, you can get some bonuses where at the beginning of each round you start with more of a certain worker type or more of a um, more bricks, and it's just a lot of combos. Now, the reason this one does drop down on my list is because I will say that when I play, even if I tell myself I'm not going to. I tend to ignore the majority of the pad on the right, other than the tracks for the citizens. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to build your wall and fortify your wall, and you have to do that over on the upper left. In order to do that, you have to move your way along that one, and then what happens is at the end of each turn, you draw a certain number of cards, and the bad guys, the barbarians or whoever it is, attack you. And they attack from either left, center, or middle. So my focus whenever I play always seems to be just getting as far across so I can build as much of the wall as possible. And even if I tell myself I'm going to use the stuff on the right, I tend to ignore a large part of that unless I absolutely need it late on. Like maybe I get a bad flip of cards where the bad guys are coming in and attacking me, and they got through more times than I was kind of hoping. Um, I have not played the campaign yet on this, so I haven't played with that. I don't know if I'm interested. I don't know. We'll see. It is one that I do enjoy, and I do enjoy the combos where you can sit there on one turn and be like, oh, I did this. Oh, wait, now I did this. Now I got that. Now I can do that, and then you just kind of keep moving around. I do like that, but there is a lot of stuff that I tend to just ignore, and that's me. I can't seem to get out of that. I have not played this solo on the tabletop for quite some time, but just when I was playing it quite a bit, I just could not get out of that rut of just like I saw no point to doing a lot of the stuff on the right when my whole goal was to stop them because I didn't want to have bad guys kind of coming in and attacking me. And that was kind of where I went with it. So that one does kind of fall down a little bit compared to the top 4. And so that is Hadrian's Wall. My number 4 is a fabulous multi-use card flip and write game that is all about building the best rail system, and that is Pioneer Rails. In Pioneer Rails, you are using these multi-use poker cards. So the poker cards are colored, and they have the values on them of ace down to 10. What you're going to do is you're going to, in the solo game, because I've only played this solo, is in the solo game, you're going to draw, I think it's 2 cards. First, you burn a card so in the multiplayer game, you draw the number of cards plus one, I think it is for the number of people there, and then the lead person gets to take a card, and then nobody else gets to use that, and everybody else can use all the other cards. In the solo game, you burn a card first to kind of mimic that one that you can't use, and then you draw 2 more cards. You choose which one you're going to use. When you choose it, you're choosing it for both the value and the symbol or color on it, because whatever color it is, you'll see the spades are blue, the hearts are red, the clubs are green, and the diamonds are orange. Whatever suit you take, that is where you're going to be able to draw your rail lines off of. And when you take it, you draw 3 rail lines that are connected back to that suit. You're trying to surround different areas. I do have a full playthrough of this on the channel. You're trying to you're trying to surround different things because different things will give you value bonuses. When you surround something that has a gold nugget on it, you get to circle a gold nugget. When you surround something that has a bank on it, you get to bank your up to 4 gold nuggets times however many nuggets you bank. So it's like if you do 4 times 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how many banks it is. The saloons allow you to double your score on the poker hand, which I'll talk about in a minute. If you separate a ranch from all of the ranches, either by rail lines, mountains, or water, you get to circle those and you get more points. And then you can surround little village things which have a house on them, and those give you some abilities to kind of break the rules. So you can go straight across the hex. You could go across. You can build a bridge across the river. You can go through the mountains instead of all the way around them. So those are fun as well. The other part of this is you've got some gold cards in the solo game. You're just flipping them over, so you're not scoring them. You're just trying to flip them over so you don't get negative. But the other part of this is in your 5 hands each round, you're making a poker hand. And depending on the poker hand, um, is how many points you score off of that. So like 1 pair, I think, is like 1 point or 2 points. But if you can get a straight, then you get a lot more points. And so if you get a saloon, you get to mark the spot next to it, and what it does is it doubles your score for that round. So I really love the use of the multi-use cards here, where you're making a poker hand and you're also drawing from a certain when you're drawing from a certain poker suit, so a card suit. So you're kind of looking at both things, like, okay, I really want that number because it's going to give me a high score down on my poker hand, but that color isn't going to do a whole lot for me. So you gotta really figure out which one you really want more than the other at any certain time. So I really love that whole multi-use card on this. All right, moving on to my number 3. My number 3 is one that I learned on Board Game Arena last summer, and when I first played it, all I was doing was pointing and clicking. It was telling me where I could and couldn't click, but I enjoyed it a lot, and I wanted to be able to learn it more. And I find learning games on the tabletop much easier. And this is a drafting game about making a band and touring, and this is called Draft and Write Records. Excuse me. All right, so in Draft and Write Records, you are in a multiplayer game, which I do play on this on BGA quite a bit. You're taking a card from your hand, you're drafting it, and you're putting it in one of the sections. So you have your agenda in the upper right in yellow. The turquoise is your agenda. The itinerary, no, I think itinerary. No, agenda and assets, I think it's what it's called. And then your band is in the middle. It looks like, old Polaroid pictures. Then you have harmonies in the bottom middle. You have your tour in the left, and then you have records. You have singles and albums, and you will score on those. So when you take a card, you'll have a symbol on the bottom right. That's what you mark off in the area on the upper left, and you can get some big combos in here. So you're trying to fill your band, but you're trying to do all these different things. So when you fill a row or a column or a diagonal in the agenda in the upper right, you get some bonuses. So you get to mark those other places. When you fill circles next to each other in the turquoise section, you get that bonus. When you have a harmony in the band, so you'll see that one of those band things are colored. You put a number and that's the value. That's the score. But then you color each one of the circles around the middle in any one of those little Polaroid pictures. And if you connect two that are the same color, you get what is called harmony. So then down in the bottom middle, you get to mark off a space. Some of those are just spaces because if you fill a row or a column, you get points. But some of them give you bonuses where you can mark stuff off in other places. Oh, excuse me. Um, and then you're also going on tour over on the left. You score points um, on the agenda for filling in rows that have the points. You score points based on your band members. You can score points based on your global goals. So at the end of each round, you see if anybody's hit the goals. They can get those and get those points. You have a private goal as well. You can get. You also get points in the harmonies section for filling rows and columns. And when you tour, you can get points as well. When you get points on the record section, you multiply the number of things you've crossed off in the top row by the number you've crossed off in the bottom row, and that's your points there. Penalties in the upper left in that orange section are if you can't place a card or you have to take a card that has a penalty on it. The game ends in one of three ways. Either you get 5 penalty. The first, if someone gets 5 penalties, if someone gets 6 gold cards, or if someone has completed their entire band. So there's different band members: lead singer, instrumentalists, backstage, and roadies, I think is what it is, something like that. So yeah, so I just really like this whole drafting part. In a solo game, it plays a little different. Is you take 2 cards and then you can use one of those and discard one, or you can take a risk, I think it is, and you take the third. You can take a third card, but if any 2 match, then you have to take the one that doesn't match. So it's a little push your luck on that as well. I just really love this game. I love the combos you can get in this game. I feel like you are working in a lot of different places. There's a lot of different strategies for it. So that is Draft and Write Records. And that brings me to my top 2. And if you follow the channel, you should be not surprised. There should be no surprise at all as to what my top 2 games are. In fact, any given day, this could be one. This really is like 1A and 1B. But for this list, I did rank them, and my number 2 is one that I just finished doing a playthrough of the last expansion map, and this is Cartographers, a flipping right game all about mapping out different lands. So in Cartographers, you are going to be flipping cards that have different colors. So different, you have villages, you have fields, you have water, you have forest, and then different shapes. Different shapes kind of fit in a little bit differently. This is 2 different games. This picture I got, this is 2 different games this person played, not one single game. And then you have 4 different scoring cards underneath the A, B, C, and D. So in the first season, which is spring, you will score cards A and B. In summer, you score B and C. In fall, you score C and D. In winter, you score D and A. There's also ambushes that come out. In a solo game, it tells you which kind of corner to start in and go either clockwise or counterclockwise until you can actually fit it in a multiplayer game, you would actually pass your pad of paper to someone else and they would draw this on. And you're trying to score the most amount of points. You get points for coins as well. Some shapes will give you a coin. Sometimes if you completely surround a mountain, it'll give you a coin. I just absolutely love this game. I love the puzzle of this game. I love figuring out which cards I'm going to focus on, because when I play, I don't try to score my best on each card. I look at which cards I think I can score the most on when they come up. And so those are the ones that I focus on the most. I also look at like, well, this card, if I can do this, this gives me 6 points for each cluster of villages. This one gives me 3 points if a water is next to a field or whatever it is. So this one isn't going to score me very much even throughout the entire game. This one is going to score me a lot for each one. So maybe I will focus on one. I usually try to focus on two big, one kind of small, and one if it's all that comes up during the round that it's up, I will try to get some points off it. But there's usually one card that I try to almost ignore because I like to focus on the fourth card because whatever is in that D slot is going to score in the last 2 rounds. And if I can build up to that for the first 2 rounds and then during the third round, it's going to score a lot. And then also the A card, while it may not score a lot in the first season, it could score an enormous amount in the fourth season when it comes back around. So if you can build up to that for the entire time, maybe you get lucky, you get some points on it in the first season. But by the time you get to the fourth season, now hopefully through 3 seasons, you've already built up, and now that card is going to score a ton. So I like to try and figure out which cards I think are going to give me the best score. And I don't try to focus on scoring all 4 of them because then usually what happens is okay, well, I score a little here and I score a little here and here and here when I'm going through it. But I didn't get any really gigantic scores, which you can get if you kind of focus on some of those ones that are later on. It may, if you're playing multiplayer, it may put you behind early, but in the end, it can jump you up. I've had solo games where I've had very few points after the first 2 seasons, and that third and fourth season hit, and because I focused on that fourth card and that first card, all of a sudden I go from a what I thought was going to be a guaranteed like negative score to being a really decent score. So that is Cartographers. Not going to talk too much more about that because I've done so much coverage for it. And that leads me to number one, which shouldn't be as no surprise as well. That is Rolling Realms. Rolling Realms is just so replayable because there are so many different realms. I think 64 realms now, and the 65th one will be coming out. I think in like a week and a half. The next one will be released when they release their new game, Takedo, or their version of Takedo, Stonemeyer's version of Takedo. And so in Rolling Realms, you're going to play 3 rounds of 3 cards. Each round, you roll the dice 9 times, and you place the dice into the realms. And you are getting bonuses for them. You're trying to get some coins that can maybe help you add some extra um, uh, numbers in. You're trying to get pumpkins, which will allow you to manipulate the dice or use a realm more than once. Or you're trying to get hearts, which will allow you to copy dice. Like I said, you play over 3 rounds. Um, each round, you roll the dice 9 times. Each round, you're using 3 realms. You can play this solo for beat your own score. There are 3 different solo modes in the base game. There are 11 realms that were based on the only 11 games that Stonemaier had at the time. And it has a mini golf mode, which is the first way I ever played this game. And then they came out with Beyond the Realmiverse, which is a um, 4 stage a 4 stage like campaign, resettable campaign. It could be used with all of the realms. There's some parts of it that the realms can't be used in. And then Rolling Realm Redux came out with RRR Ball, which I've not tried yet, but I'm excited to get that to the table, which is based on like soccer. So you're doing some different things, trying to beat another team. So I'm excited to get that to the table. So just the number of realms that they have, like I said, I think there's 64. So the 65th, you only play 9 of them each time. So you have right now 7 full games of Rolling Realms without repeating any realms. There's also hundreds of fan made realms out there if you like to print and play those. Um, and the 3 different solo modes that are available for Rolling Realms. Just a ton of different replayability. I absolutely love this game. Those of you that follow the channel know how much I love this game. I've covered every single realm that is out there with an individual tutorial, and I will continue to do that because I love this game so much. And I may start doing some of the solo playthrough stuff. So there you have it. There are my top 10 accent rights. Let me know what your top accent rights are in the comments. If you like this, please hit that like button down below. It means a whole lot to the channel. Hit that subscribe button as well. Once again, this has been Where There's a Wills, There's a Play. My name's Ian. I'll see you next time at the table.